Well, it's the next day. I have booked into another room in the same hotel. So this one is closer to the reception and the internet is a lot better. I've been continuing to ice my leg. Feeling a lot better. It's still a little swollen, but it feels better. And I would hope so after a full day of icing. I've gone through a few buckets. Um, I had breakfast this morning at the hotel here, and there was a large group of Chinese people. And after watching some videos from people I subscribe to who live in China, I'd have to say that these are really Chinese people because their sense of space, or how can I word it, butting in between you and what's in front of you, uh, isn't something they think about. I was trying to get at um, uh, the cereal, for example. And this woman just walks right between me and the counter, which is like a foot away from me, and doesn't say a word or anything, just does her stuff right in front of me. Like, she's this far in front of me. And other people, they had the sense of famine, uh, where there's only a limited amount of food, and if they didn't eat everything that they wanted to eat, there wasn't going to be anything left. So yeah, I had some eggs and half of a hash brown that was left, and a couple bowls of cereal, and I went off. I went back to icing my leg, blah blah, arranging for the other room. About 8 o'clock, because I think it closes at 9, the breakfast, I walked back into that room. All these people had left on their bus, and there was one family in there, and there were all these hash browns and all these eggs and all this milk and cereal, and I didn't bother with the stupid waffle maker and the heated corn syrup. I just, yeah. And it was all full, like uh, no problem. They just brought out more food. But while those people were there, it, the guy coughing, not in the food, but he's like over in another area, not far from me, and he's like coughing out loud without his hands or anything in front of his face, just spray away and making noises and boy, people in another culture have a different attitude toward things. Anyone I know in North America who's Chinese descent doesn't have it like that, but I guess if you're born and raised in China, quite possible they have these type of attitudes that are about private, personal space. They're not true. I know a guy I knew back in Victoria. He talked about how he walked down the street and there were like three or four of them, young kids over in Victoria, learning English as a second language, and they'd be walking up the street, and he'd be walking down, and they would not open a gap for him at all. It's like, no, you have to go around us or something like that. They just didn't think about the fact that he's walking down the street and they're walking up, and it wasn't a thing about teenagers or anything like that. That's just the way it is. Like here, spitting is very common in China. Anyway, not to pick on Chinese people or anything. I just get back to my problems. The weather is nice today. It's a bit cloudy. I see a wind blowing there right now. I checked the weather, chance of rain through the week. Watch the TV thing, depending on where you are in the U.S. There's a lot more heavy rain, so it could happen. Um, I still need more food, and I figure I'm going to have to get it in Duncannon. I'm making about a 25-minute or 20-minute walk off to a grocery store. So I'm going to have to leave early enough to get there before it closes. I'm sure it doesn't close until 8 or something like that, but I'll have to go from there. Either to stay at the Doyle Hotel, which I hear is a kind of flea bag, but uh, probably better than some hostels I've been at, or shelters. And alternatively, I'll continue on to the next shelter, but that would be like a 20-mile day. Depending on my leg feels, that might be okay, and the weather and all. So, I won't worry about it. I've also found out that iCloud is not a backup system for your phone when it comes to photos. They back up your photos, but they only keep it there for 30 days, maximum, well not maximum, minimum. And then it may be deleted from iCloud. Because they figure that within 30 days you've already synced it or pulled it down or whatever to your other computers and blah, blah, blah. And if you don't, well, and I found out that apparently it does not back up or upload your videos, which is most of what I have, which is why I think Paul wasn't seeing uh, the variety or the number of files in gigabytes. I slept okay. Anyway, bored, I think. Um, why the videos and that were there. So now I've bought space on Google Drive, and I'm backing up to Google Drive because it will back up both photos and videos. But they do have a sync thing, so if I do delete, it gets deleted there too. So once I get photos up there, I will get Paul to download them, and then, which is what we were trying to do with iCloud, and or just copy them to another folder, I think on Google Drive. That way they're not in a synced folder. I think that will take care of it. You just have to copy them to a hard drive. Just leave them on iCloud, or not iCloud, Google Drive. Anyway, I have Google Photos and Google Drive working right now, and they're syncing. I don't know if they're making duplicates or one depends on the other or what. It's a little confusing right now, but I'm letting it go. I'm going to leave the phone here and the internet plugged in to my battery pack, and it's almost 1 o'clock. I'm going to go off and have some lunch at the diner next door. Not that I'm hungry, but I should eat, and maybe pick up something at one of the gas stations again, maybe another some more trail nuts. Something I probably don't need to. If I'm going to go to the store in Duncannon tomorrow, so. Yeah. Boy, I watched the auto race today, sleeping through it, and now Lord of the Rings is on, and I'm kind of bored of that. I need to get up and get out and do something, but I'm not taking the phone with me, so this may be the sum total of what today's video is going to be, just me blabbing here right now. So, wish I could think of something more to say, and if I do, I'll add it later, I guess. But my swelling hasn't, like I said, gone all the way down, but again, more flexibility. It's still a little painful. I'm going to take another ibuprofen before I go. That's another thing I need to buy more of. I don't have that many left, and what I do are the PM, and I don't want to be taking something that makes you drowsy during the day, unless I'm taking a caffeine drink or something like that to help offset the PM drowsiness feature. So a little bit of a pickle. I feel like I'm losing my friends because they're all off ahead of me now, at least a day, maybe two, and may not see them again, or may not see them for weeks, maybe even not before I get to Katahdin. And there'll be new people coming. You know, the people behind me. Anyway, just a notification from Google Photos, but couldn't read it. So I'm a little sorry that I won't see those people again for a while. I'll meet new people. I talked to Renata last night, briefly. Hi, Renata. Before bed, to give my mom a call Sunday, and I haven't spoken to her for a week, and while I'm still in the same time zone and all, and I have a phone connection, I'll do that. Hi, Kathy. I'm reading your texts, and thanks, Rufus, Dwight, for leaving a couple comments on videos. Yeah, it was more interesting. Anyway, I guess I'll head off for something to eat now, and catch up with you something later. Okay, bye-bye. So this is my foot, and in the plastic bag is a Ziploc with ice bag and water, and that's my clothing bag when I put my other leg under the sheet, balancing it to make it better. Make sure I don't get the bed all wet with water that flows out. Anyway, it's starting to look a lot better. I can flex. What I couldn't do before. I still feel it though. So it's going to be icing for the rest of the night. I spent a long time in this bedroom or in this hotel room uh, speaking to my mom for a while there. Oh, just trying to work Google Photos to back up my photo library. Looks like it's working. It's already given me the option to delete like 300 and some videos that make up some back of, I guess Google Drive was backing up back at the beginning of the trip, which I didn't realize or remember. So the photos I thought I lost in iCloud, because I was deleting them thinking that they were backed up, um, they were in Google Photos, thankfully, and they weren't deleted, it appears. So um, I'm continuing to back them up. I haven't uploaded any videos today. I might try one later, but I'm trying to get everything safe and secure before I start freeing up memory, which is what Google is prompting me to do with the Google Drive. Um, I'm not sure when I'm using Google Drive or Google Photos, which is the right one to use. I think it's Google Drive to do the backup anyway. It's a little confusing at this point, but I've also written out all the shelters and towns for the next about 90 miles, and there are a couple shelter hops that are going to be like 22 miles tomorrow. That include is going an extra probably hour walk to and from um, a supermarket in Duncannon to get food to resupply, and that's going to mean more Nor rice sides, that type of stuff, and not probably any Mountain House freeze-dried foods, that type of thing. I have one here that's 25, one that's 23. I don't know about those. Um, Unfortunately, it's either that or like a 7 mile gap, and then from an 18-mile gap the next day type of thing. So um, they're not really well spaced at this point. There are a couple days where it's 17 and 16 miles. And again, because I don't know what the terrain will be like being Pennsylvania, like that, at 22 may be really hard to do, and I'll have to stay in Duncannon at the hotel. At 25 will then be a little bit longer because I won't have done the extra 4 miles out of Duncannon to the shelter, making 25, 29, so that's not going to happen. Anyway, it sounds like I'm going to have to camp. And weather, I checked um, weather.org, and although it hasn't been very accurate when it comes to predicting bad weather, uh, the weather seems to be not so rainy for the next week. Uh, Chances of rain, but low percentage, or in the evening, like after 8 o'clock. So I think I'll be okay for camping at campsites that are between the shelters. I'm hoping. And who knows what extra bit of information I might pick up from other people as I go along. I know who I should check also where hostels are located in Guthook to try to figure out if there are options rather than shelters that have these big gaps. Because uh, when I get there, I might find I can't do it, and again, my leg might begin to act up. And if I can find a tennis or bandage at the grocery store tomorrow, that'd be great, because then I can get that and have it as a backup. Ibuprofen and walking on it probably won't be enough. Uh, yeah, I'm more worried than normal about the next little while, trying to sort out where I'm going to be and what I'm going to do day to day. Usually when the shelters were a certain distance apart, you just knew you're going to the next one, you're going to the next one, you're going to the next one, skipping every other one, that type of thing. But now they're kind of oddly placed, and some towns are nearer the trail than others. Like I want to get to Hamburg, Pennsylvania, at mile 1,220. There's a Walmart uh, that might be a mile or two from the trail that I can definitely do a big resupply at. So that could be 4 days away, or it could be six. I don't know. I'm definitely gonna have to carry food from Duncannon tomorrow, though. So I'll have my bag packed and ready to go before I go for breakfast. I'll have breakfast, and then I will get the pack and start walking. It's going to be a long day, and I've got stuff to do. And yeah, I'll have to get on with the program and get this puppy done. So later. Well, after dinner, I revised my leg a little bit more, watching Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I tried backing up more of the photos as well as at the restaurant, and while I was here a little bit, editing some videos. I think I'll try to upload one tonight. And while I had my head on the headboard here, I guess my neighbors were getting a little frisky. I had to move my head away from the wall for a little while. So that seems to have ended after a good 10 minutes. So yeah, I guess I'll just have what's left of my Coke before I forget. It's 8:20 now, before the caffeine has too much effect. And yeah, get ready to fall asleep for the last time in the hotel. Um, Walking over to the restaurant and back, foot felt pretty good. Still a little bit of something I can feel there. Hopefully it won't get inflamed again and have to go through all this, in Duncannon or something like that. But I think I'll be good to go in the morning. I sort of hope so. Uh, Looking forward to it anyway. So, see you on the road tomorrow. Bye bye.